Hi everybody, I'm Jim and welcome to my backyard. I've been getting a lot of questions around when I'm going to have a use video up with the new dark timber knives, and frankly I don't know when that's going to be. We've had a lot of rain here, and with my work schedule I can't do it during the week, and this coming weekend I'm actually hoping to get out, so I'm hoping to do some snowshoeing / camping in the immigrant wilderness. So I'm not quite sure when I'll get a real use video out, but as I like to do, I figured I'd come out here and hopefully have enough time during my lunch hour to film some fire starting. Sorry for the background noise. One of my neighbors seems to be having some work done, and for whatever reason today it seems like we're right over the flight path, or right under the flight path of the local airport. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to start some fires with the dark timber cave bear and the dark timber devil's horn. Originally I was going to do separate videos on the cave bears and then a separate video fire starting with the devil's horn. They are very similar. The cave bear is simply a smaller version of the devil's horn for all intents and purposes. But the one thing that I noticed today was the different materials have slightly different characteristics. And so I figured I would do one video with all three. And when I say slightly different characteristics, what I mean is, so the devil's horn is 80 CRV2, right? Then you've got one cave bear, which is Nitro V, the other cave bear, which is CPM 3V. And as I was looking at them today, I noticed that, and this may be just a variation in the production process, or it may be due to the materials, or it may be due to the coatings. If I take, for example, wow, that was in there. If I take, for example, the cave bear in 3V, one thing that I've noticed is that the spine isn't as sharp as, say, the devil's horn, which is 80 CRV2. Now that may be due to the acid etch that's on there and the additional processing that this may go through, or it may be just a function of how the materials actually react to the machining. So I figured, why not do a video with all three and see if we can actually detect a difference in their ability to spark a ferro rod. So that's what we'll do. The spine on the Nitro V is sharper than the spine on the 3V, and the devil's horn is sharper than both. So does that matter? We'll find out. Now you can see that the log that I'm using today is really wet. Like I said, we've had rain, so this log is wet. I'm going to be using this fat wood that I harvested myself. It is a very hard, dense fat wood. It is not a really sappy fat wood, so it is a little bit harder to spark a ferro rod than than what I was using earlier in the year. Got my ratty old ferro rod, which I use for everything. Let's start with the devil's horn. It's the larger of the three knives. Again, it's 80 CRV2. I'm going to try to spark a ferro rod three ways. I'm going to try with the spine. I'm going to try with the amber notch, which is specifically designed to spark a ferro rod. And then I'm going to use my favorite alternative method when I can't spark off the spine. We'll try to use the choil. I'm getting really fine, thin shavings, which is what you want. I'm getting the sort of shavings off of the spine of the devil's horn that in my comparison video, I was having to use the blade of most other knives with to get those shavings. The wind may be a problem. Well, the shavings that I'm getting are excellent. So I don't think this is going to be any problem at all. There we go. I mean, that was basically first time, and it's right up. Yeah, this is super sharp, no issues. I am super impressed by the shavings that I'm getting. Okay, so let's try the amber notch. I've never used the amber notch before. It was designed specifically for this. The way that I understand the way you're supposed to use it is have your fat wood or your tender bundle here, You've got your pile of wood here. You're going to want to rest your blade on that pile of wood so that you're not resting it on the ground, you're not resting it on a rock. And then you're going to use the inside here to just spark the rod. So let's see how that works for me. Well, like anything else, I guess it's going to take a little practice on my part. Let's see if I hold it like this, does that make a difference? No. Okay, I'm getting a good spark, and I can't seem to I am getting a good spark. I think I just need to practice a little bit to get an understanding of where that spark is going and how I need to position it. Okay, so it looks like maybe I need to change the angle a bit. The sparks are there. Obviously, I'm gonna need more practice. Now, just to see if it's me, which just to make sure my pile of fat wood is large enough to actually do good. Let's try the spine again. Yeah. So I just need to practice. We'll see what I can do with the other knives. Peter Colo has a demo video where he uses it, and I'll go back and I'll rewatch it and I'll try it again. Now let's try the inside of the choil. There we go. Got it with the choil. Let's try it again with the amber notch. So what I'm seeing with my technique is I'm getting a good spark, but the spark is, you know, it's sitting up here on top of the ferro rod, and it's not going into the pile. So I'm obviously doing something wrong. But that's why I do these videos, right? So people can learn from my mistakes. We've got the Cape Air and Nitro V. Again, the spine is not as sharp as the Devil's Horn. Okay, now I'm not getting the shavings that I want off of this, and it isn't, like I said, it isn't as sharp as the Devil's Horn. It could be processing of the Nitro V. It could just be that one particular knife. I don't know. Now it's not a fault of the knife. It is actually fairly consistent with what I've experienced with this piece of fat wood with other knives. This piece of fat wood, it's just really hard. Where you tend to get fine powder. With this, I am getting shavings as opposed to powder, so that's great. But what I like to get is long, thin curls. And so if I use the blade, you can see what I'm talking about. And you can see how easily this slides up and down, and that's pretty typical. So it's nothing wrong with this particular knife. There we go. Took a little playing around to sort of get used to it, but fire achieved. Okay, let's get some more shavings. Okay, so let's try the amber notch with this particular knife. Oh, that looked good. Oh, that was close. There we go. Just like anything else, I think it's going to require a little practice on my part, just to get a feel for, you know, where I need to place the knife above the tinder pile or the fat wood, to really understand how to, you know, how it's going to light. Now let's see if we can do it with the choil. There's been some talk among my friends that I don't like the amber notch, and that's not true. I think the amber notch is a great idea. It was created specifically to help people that have problems sparking a ferro rod off of the spine of their knife, which, you know, is a skill, more easily start a fire. It was the idea of Peter Kohler's wife, Amber Kohler, who most of you probably know as Amber Hargrove. She's the alligator wrestling survivalist from Discovery Channel's Naked and Afraid. And it's a great idea. She used to start fires with her blade edge, which, you know, in reality, if you've ever been out in the backcountry and you've been cold, you know that the dexterity in your hands when you're cold is shot, right? You can't screw around with the spine of your knife trying to start a fire and sit there, you know, 6-7 strokes trying to get that fire started. You need to get it started in 1 or 2 strokes. She used to use the edge of her knife, and she and Peter had a discussion, and the result of that discussion was this amber notch. Either using the amber notch or the spine is going to be a skill that anybody's going to have to develop, regardless. But in any case, there's some discussion among my friends that I don't like it, and that's not true. The issue that I have with it is that, you know, when I choke up on a knife, when I use a choil, and, you know, I like knives with choils, and I like knives with choils for a reason. When I'm working with a knife, I want to have my finger as close to the working edge as possible, because if I'm here carving, I always want to be like right here. I want to have whatever I'm carving, whatever I'm cutting into, right up close to my fingers, because that's where the leverage is. If I have it farther away, I'm not getting as much leverage. And so, you know, even though this is a small difference between having it here or having it here, you know, you do lose a little bit of your power, a little bit of your leverage. But that said, it's not a huge deal. So lest any of my friends think that I am trying to throw this fire starting, that's not the case. So let's see now if I can use the choil. And with the amber notch, the one great thing is going to be you're not going to be banging your knuckles into anything. Okay, on the Nitro V, I'm not going to be able to start it with the choil. So, Nitro V, amber notch, and spine. Actually, now that I've had a little practice with the amber notch, let's go back to the devil's horn and let's see if I can get it started. No dice. I also think that maybe the pile of fat wood that I use is maybe a little small for the amber notch. We'll see. Okay, so 3V, And again, this spine is not super sharp. Yep, it's sliding on this really hard, almost petrified fat wood. Let's see if I can get a... And I don't think I'm going to get a spark off the spine at all, actually. Yeah, I'm not getting a spark at all. Very little, very light. Okay, so I'm going to say no on the spine. Let's see the choil. I'm going to say no on the choil. So it's all going to be on the amber notch. Oh, that looks really good. There we go. So, 3V version with the acid etch, yes with the amber notch, no with the spine, no with the choil. So that was fun. I think I'm getting a better feel for the amber notch. Let's switch back to the devil's horn and see if I can get it started with the devil's horn. If I can get it started with the devil's horn, that'll be the trifecta. Yeah, this spine is great. I mean, it's making shavings like nobody's business. So now that I've got a better feel, I think what I need to do, I think I need to put the amber notch sort of to the right of the pile, and I need to put the knife over the center of the fatwood pile. There we go, we got it. So, devil's horn, the trifecta of fire starting. That is so cool. Well, there you go. Quick and easy starting fires with the dark timber cave bear and the dark timber devil's horn. Quick question, if you've watched the entire video, if you have a devil's horn and a cave bear, are you finding that one has a sharper spine than the other? I'd really like to know. If you could just comment down in the comments. I really would like to understand whether it's the material, i.e. is it 80 CRV2 versus 3V and Nitro V, or you know, maybe it was just the way the knives were cut, and maybe it's just the machining. I don't know, but I'd like to see if it's consistent with everybody else. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.